In a small town under a faded sky lives a woman with a heart so wide. She fights for the lost, the set aside, against a system where shadows hide. She's seen the pain in a child's eyes. Tears fall down unanswered cries. With every case she stands so strong, turning pages, righting all the wrongs. Turn the page, let the truth be told. Shine a light on secrets dark and bold. For the families torn, the children mourn. Turn the page, let their voices mourn. Calls in the dead of night, holds the hands of those who fight, stands tall against the fear and shame. In her heart burns a righteous flame. She'll expose the lies, the hidden schemes, chasing justice in their dreams. For every child with a broken smile, she's turning pages mile by mile. Turn the page, let the truth be told. Shine a light on secrets dark and bold. For the families torn, the children worn. Turn the page, let their voices mourn.
Good evening. Oh, no, this is Turn the Page with Kim Page. I have a special guest this evening, Amy Walmsley. See if we can get Amy up here.
Hey,
There
Kim.
we are. Hi, Amy. How are you tonight?
I'm here.
Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
You're here. All right. So, Amy, I asked you on the show tonight. Oh, did we lose you? See if we can get Amy back real quick here. Darren, did we lose her? Okay. Well, in the meantime, when we
I bumped my screen.
Okay. All right. Amy, thank you for being here tonight. We know you're not too technically savvy there, so we'll forgive you on that.
A notification come across my screen, and I thought I could bump it, and it just shot me out of the video.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, Amy, you and I have been talking for quite a while. We advocate together with quite a few cases in Alabama. And the reason I asked you on the show tonight is because there was an interesting story that came up today in Jefferson County.
Mm-hmm.
So the situation was a young lady in Pell City. Actually, I'll read the post to y'all. This post is out of Pell City, Alabama. Apparently, the woman is registered to vote in Jefferson County, Alabama. She said, I was called for jury duty in Jefferson County today. My daughter Parker just turned 3 months old and is exclusively breastfed. She will not take a bottle at all. The only way she will eat is by me. I called and turned in the forms to be excused, and it was not granted. I went today with Parker in tow in the middle of sixth season, and it was a horrible experience. There were two other mothers there, and the judge said that those with children there would need to make accommodations for their children to be picked up, that they would hate for DHR, which is Alabama's name for CPS,
Right.
to be involved. So this has made a huge, huge, a huge
Round
thing
around
across Alabama.
Mhm.
So Amy, if you you are very good with statistics. Let's talk about some of these cases where parents are being investigated by Child Protective Services (DHR) in the state of Alabama for
Mhm.
situations like this.
Well, I find it interesting that they told her to leave her exclusively breastfed baby somewhere for 5+ hours. Wouldn't that constitute abuse and neglect for not feeding the child? So they're telling her to abuse and neglect her child in order to come there to do something they can excuse her of until the child is older.
Right. So I find it interesting that in 2001, State Auditor Andrew Sorrell introduced House Bill
Wait,
369.
2001 or 2021?
Excuse me, 2021. Thank you for correcting me there. In
Okay, that's
2021, State Auditor Andrew Sorrell introduced House Bill 369. This bill was introduced to allow people to be excused from jury duty for situations like this. Now, personally, I've had a similar situation with having to request to be excused from jury duty. In 2001, my daughter was born, May of 2001, and 6 weeks after she was born, I was called for jury duty just a week and a half after I had surgery. So I have a child that's less than 2 months old, and I've just had knee surgery. I'm on crutches. They had no problem excusing me, but the judge in Jefferson County, Judge French, who I believe is the head judge in Jefferson County, said that DHR needs to be involved in your life if you choose to feed your child instead of come doing your civic duty.
I would also like to
So let's
point.
talk about some of the things that you.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
I looked at that mother's Facebook. She has 3 or 4 other older children besides the baby, and she's a nurse for a local hospital, and they're threatening her with things like that, which could cost her livelihood as well, like her career.
Yes. Yes. So this judge is more interested in a civic duty than worrying about the parental responsibilities of a mother of 5 children, a wife, a taxpayer. She would rather this woman waste her time trying to decide whether or not somebody should be put in prison for selling an ounce of pot on the street corner than to feed her baby. So, I mean, let's talk about some of the things that you've done, some of the research that you've done in Alabama, some of the cases that you're aware of children being removed from their parents for asinine reasons such as this.
There are multiple cases where someone has gotten divorced and, for lack of a different English word, the abusive partner has called DHR in an attempt to continue the control to the other partner. And sometimes the children get sent with the other part, like with the abusive partner. Sometimes they're put with family. Sometimes they're just taken from everybody. There are other cases where a parent takes a child to the hospital and then they claim medical neglect when there isn't any. There was a baby that got taken to a hospital in Mobile last year, USA Women's and Children, because he has some congenital health issues. And they were from Huntsville, which is Madison County, and they twisted things up, called DHR, and it took us months to get this medically fragile baby back to Madison County, and another couple of months to get him back to his mama. And they did multiple surgeries and other procedures without his mother present and without her permission. You know her. You've spoken with her.
Yes, I believe I do know who that is. I believe you're speaking about Crystal.
No, Jessica Cobb.
Jessica. Okay. All right. Okay. We have another one very similar. Very similar.
That's what I was about to say. I'm sure she's not.
Yeah, and Jessica actually, I will believe will be a guest on the show. I think sometime next week is what we're possibly looking at for a date.
Yes.
So, Amy, tell our audience why exactly you do what you do.
Because again, Mobile County, the bane of my existence. I used to live in Mobile County, but we were actually living in Shelby County, as well as we also had a Coosa County address as well. We had gone to Mobile for a week or two while we were in the middle of a move and to handle some things in Mobile, staying with a believed to be family friend. And all of a sudden, DHR shows up, takes my sons, who were at the time 2.5 and 5 months old, and claims, well, it's just for the night, it's just for the week, this, that, and the third. This was September of 2021. We were not a resident of that county, so even if there was a reason for a DHR case, the children should have been sent back to our original county, of which we had 2. And I told them they could send them back to either county due to having addressing and whatnot. And they still haven't returned my children to the correct county or to me. Their claim was that the children didn't have beds. Well, we didn't live there, so why would they have beds set up? And that they were covered in bug bites. It was the South in September, and we'd been playing outside. The children were just in their diapers. Yes, again, we were outside and it was 90-something degrees. So, and then they proceeded to pick up my newborn, who's almost 2 years old, in the end of May of 2023, citing, well, we have your 2 older children. And that is directly against Alabama law to remove a younger child just because you have the older siblings. And every week I get multiple cases of, hey, they have my toddler, my kindergartner, my middle schooler, and now they've come and picked up my baby, or they're threatening to pick up my baby because I'm pregnant again, despite that being directly against the law.
Now, Amy, you have a CPS case that has taken your children away from you, and you've been told that you're unfit and that you shouldn't be around children and you shouldn't be around your own children. Can you please tell us what you do for a living?
I'm an Instacart delivery driver and shopper. I'm a security guard, and I'm a substitute licensed by the state of Alabama.
A substitute teacher?
Yes.
So you mean that the state of Alabama has told you that you're not allowed to be around your children, but they're allowing you to be around other people's children?
Yes, ma'am. And for the most part, I sub almost exclusively with behavioral unit children, special needs children, and kindergartners, and children that need a variety.
Wow. So basically, you're good enough for other people's children, but you're not good enough for your own. So,
yes.
Amy, let me ask you this: with your particular case, is there somebody lined up that has purchased your children, or is attempting to purchase your children?
Yes, who I have text messages with, claiming that she couldn't take care of all the children in her home even before they got my youngest. My oldest of the 3 that are there, he was already in therapy when they got removed. They haven't put him in therapy. They haven't done this and that. They claim there is nothing wrong with him, and in the last 3-ish months have put him on 10 milligrams of extended release Ritalin, but yet they claim nothing is wrong with him, but they have him on prescription meth.
So Amy, let me stop you right there. You said that your child's on 10 milligrams of Ritalin. How old is your child that's on Ritalin?
He just turned 6 in December.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the paternal side of the family, don't they have a extensive history of drug use and abuse?
Yes.
And is Alabama CPS aware of the paternal side having this drug abuse history?
Yes, because his father and his aunts and uncles were removed by the state for their parents' drug use.
So your child is in the custody of Child Protective Services with a genetic history of drug abuse, and they put him on one of the most addictive substances that has been created by man.
Yes. And their excuse when it finally come out in court, because we demanded to know why, their excuse was, well, he won't sit down in school and he's thrown a chair. He's in kindergarten. He has multiple behavioral diagnoses, and it's against our religion to be in school. So why is my child sitting in a normal, typical kindergarten classroom?
Well, I mean, we have a school day of 7 hours long where 6-year-olds are expected to sit still, keep their mouths shut, and not have any issues. I am almost 46 years old and I can't sit still for 7 hours straight. My doctor's not giving me Ritalin.
You'll be lucky if I make it through this call before I get up and wander in the other room.
This is a little bit ridiculous.
My middle child, who was 5 months old at the time, he had how did they diagnose it? They diagnosed it as visual delay because we went to the eye doctor because he didn't react when you did anything like this. They didn't see anything wrong with his eyes. He didn't have any eye disease or anything or abnormality. So they diagnosed it as visual delay. He was supposed to be in early intervention for these delays and whatnot. I know they had to redo an evaluation because of different counties and all that kind of crud. They waited. They got him at 5 months old. He didn't do his new evaluation until he was 12 or 13 months old. So roughly 6 months before they even did the evaluation to get him back in services. And then they scheduled one appointment that I'm not sure if they even had or not. And then the foster parents canceled it to never reset it up again. And he's not nonverbal, but he'll be 4 in April, and he's semi-verbal, if you will, and would rather sit in the corner and play with a truck than do anything. He's been ignored this entire time because of all of the children in the home. And my youngest baby, she has a diagnosed rare genetic abnormality. It's a partial trisomy of the 10th chromosome. And this is a kind of spectrum disorder where some of the children just have some slight delays and some children are palliative care before they're 5. So it requires further genetic testing and everything. They have done no further genetic testing on her, despite us mentioning it from the get-go. And they claim that they didn't even know that she had any kind of disorder. Oh, and my middle child, they've also had him on over 20 different prescriptions in the last 3.5 years, most of them being antibiotics. And he's gotten a skull fracture in their home that we can't even get an answer of how he got.
So, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have insurance on your children, medical insurance?
I do.
And has CPS attempted to get you to take them off that insurance?
Mm-hmm. They're claiming that it's keeping them from getting state Medicaid.
Have they given you a reason why the children need to be on state Medicaid? What is your understanding as to why CPS puts children, insists that parents let their children be on Medicaid while they're in custody?
Well, 1, because then they can claim that you're not providing for them. And 2, then you don't get the claims when they go to the doctor or the urgent care or this and that, and you don't even know when they're going anywhere.
True. So
also,
one of the things.
Hold on, pause. You know, I got some TPR orders that were illegally done on the 3rd of January, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I'm in the process of filing against. A week later, on the 10th of January, guess what claim I got from my insurance? Draven's monthly Ritalin.
Ah.
Oh, they're TPR. They're supposedly not mine. Why is my insurance being billed for them.
That's a good question. Honestly, I would
No,
file a fraud.
I
File a
didn't give them
fraud
permission
on
to
it.
use my insurance at any point. That was secondary insurance to the Medicaid in case there was a therapy place that didn't take Medicaid that had an opening for my children to, receive the services they needed. And instead, they're willy nilly running to the urgent care and the doctor and this every third Tuesday and
So then I
racking
would
it up on
file a
man.
claim of fraud on that, because if they're not legally your children anymore, then that means that legally you cannot insure them. You're not married to their legal parent. You don't have the legal authority to insure them. But one of the things that I've discovered, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Amy, is CPS, Alabama specifically, I believe that a lot of other states have a similar system. Their internal system that they use for all their documentation is called a fax system. Capital F, capital A, capital C, capital T, capital S, fax. This system, when they put in their documentation, let's say that the caseworker comes to your home and checks around and looks for bugs and gross garbage everywhere, all the stuff that they pretend that is wrong with your home. When they go back to the office and they type up their report, they put these keywords into their system. These keywords are in all capitals and they're bold. When they type these words into their system, one word would be performed a visit.
Mhm.
This sends a bill to Medicaid,
Oh,
and Medicaid pays CPS for having performed that non-medical service. That is why they want so many children. Medicaid fraud, yes, ma'am.
so the state is defrauding itself. Oh, you like
Well, Medicaid actually a federal program with state oversight and state funding.
right? That's what I meant.
CPS is a state third-party contracted business. So,
Right.
yeah,
That's what
technically they kind of are defrauding themselves.
I mean, they also tried to order drug tests, and there's an Alabama law drug test on many parents. There's an Alabama law that states they are not allowed to ask for testing or services that are unrelated to why the children were removed. Like in my case, there's nothing to do with drugs. They keep trying to demand we do drug testing, which if they order that and the state pays for it, which they've done multiple times and we haven't gone, that's fraud and racketeering on the state for paying for a service that is against the law.
Now, let's be clear really quick. We just spoke about your 6-year-old being on Ritalin and his father's side of the family having extensive drug history. Want to make sure that everybody understands Amy is not with that child's father. Her fiance and the father of her youngest child has participated in all the CPS proceedings, and he has passed every single drug test, as has Amy. The father of the child, who does have the drug history, has not been participatory in this case.
He has been slightly, and they falsified a drug test on him.
Yep. So Amy, one of the things that we're trying to do with this show is not only on how to fight their case, how to deal with the system itself, from a court, the paperwork and from the paperwork and the service plan and the CPS side of it. But one of the things that we want to focus on is the psychological effect that it has on parents and how to deal with that. As you know, in October of 23, my best friend, Chris Buchanan, killed himself because Alabama CPS took his 5 beautiful daughters from him because, according to them, a man can't be a single father of 5 girls. So, Amy, I would love to talk to you about how you deal with the psychological ramifications of what CPS has done to you and your family.
Well, all I do is read law, go to work, sleep, and take care of animals.
So, one of the things that I have done to be able to, Chris, I hope that everything goes well with your court case tomorrow. One of the things that I myself have done to cope with the psychological ramifications of what CPS has done, and I have been diagnosed with PTSD because of everything that CPS has done to my family. One of the things that I do, aside from taking herbal supplements, and I do not mean marijuana, I mean actual, you can buy it at Walmart, herbal supplements. That is very helpful in helping me to be able to maintain my psychological stability, especially after having Chris kill himself. For those of you that don't know, I was on the phone with Chris just moments before he killed himself. Um, I'm the one that notified his parents. I'm the one that called the police, and with the help of my producer, Darren, I was the one that cleaned up what was left of Chris. That
Um,
was extremely traumatizing to me.
I know that there are some lawsuit stuff still going on about Chris's murder, but has anyone, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, has anyone thought about suing the different media outlets who slammed him all over the internet claiming that he was an abuser and kidnapper of his own children?
That's not something we have talked about. I think that once the wrongful death lawsuit against CPS and the Talladega County Sheriff's Department are taken care of, that might be something that we might want to look into. However, I think that the media has some protections, being that they are quote unquote journalists. So that may not be anything that would be able to go
Right.
very far. But as I was saying, one of the things that I do, I one of the things that I do to be able to help me to keep from losing it after Chris died, I was a basket case. I was diagnosed with PTSD. It was very traumatic, and one of the things that I have begun doing is not only helping other parents and advocating for other parents, but I do everything I can to help others around me that do not have some of the things that they need. For instance, Amy, you and I've talked several times, or we've been on the phone several times when I've been bringing big bowls, big containers of soup to the elderly people that live in the apartments I live in. There are a couple of homeless shelters and warming stations not too far from where I live. And I have started volunteering there to bring dinner once or twice a week to the people that utilize those places, those facilities. These are some of the things that I've done to help maintain my own sanity. Part of the reason I do them is because, or began doing them, is because giving myself a
Out.
assignment that I have to do for somebody else, and I have a certain date that I have to do it. When I get to those points that I just don't want to survive and I'm begging God not to let me wake up the next day, I start thinking, "Oh, wait a minute. I can't not wake up tomorrow because tomorrow I've got to bring Mrs. Johnson to the doctor. Oh,
Right.
wait. I can't not wake up tomorrow cuz day after tomorrow, Mr. Smith, I promised him that I would bring him potato soup." So those are some of the things that I've been doing to help
Ready to go.
maintain my sanity.
And now they're in my bathroom.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Amy. You cut out on us.
I said I promised to pick up new foster animals after the storm the other day, and now I have cats in my extra bathroom.
So
For
Your
Not
your reaching out and helping others is to help all the animals, the ones that you don't have to worry about somebody coming and stealing and saying you're a bad mom.
Oh, I don't know. They have come and picked up one because they wanted to use a new rescue wanted to use him as a pity case.
Wow. Wow. So, Amy, you do a lot of research, and I know you've got a large presence on TikTok. Tell
Yes.
me about some of the things that you've come across in the past week or so in relation to Alabama CPS. I think there were some numbers of children in care, I believe, that you
Yes, give me just a minute. My computer is acting like a crackhead. It is old and slow and needs to be drowned. I can't find the old one that's several weeks old. I don't know where I put it. But Alabama, hold on, where is it? Hold on, I might be able to get that one actually. I need a third device and I don't have my other device out. Give me just a second. I thought I had it all pulled up, but I don't have that one pulled up. I have everything else. Let me scroll through some pictures and I will get to it because I know I posted it. Clips posted as a picture,
so
not a video.
let's see. I think one of the posts that so Amy and I actually are admins, co-owners of a site in Alabama called Parents Helping Children. This site is for parents in Alabama only. Um, we have this for Alabama parents only specifically because each state has a lot of different laws. And while one state may apply in every other state, or excuse me, one law may apply in every state, there's laws that are specific to each state. So we try to make sure that what we do is specifically to Alabama. So if there's anybody
Hello.
here that's watching that is an Alabama parent, it is Parents Helping Children. If you want to go on the page, just say that I sent you, say that you saw the show, and that I sent you, and we'll let you in. Um, let's see. I think Amy may have knocked herself off the screen again. Let's see if we can get her back here. So one of the things that Amy has actually recently there we go,
Sorry,
Amy.
someone called me and it kicked me out. I can't find the other one,
That's
but I
okay.
can paraphrase the first one. They made a post towards the end of the year that there were pretty close to 6,000 children in care in the state of Alabama. They did not clarify if that number was just children that were foster. They didn't clarify if kinship children were added to it. They didn't clarify if this included the children waiting for adoption. They didn't clarify if this included any of the elderly or disabled people that are in care in the state. They did not clarify any, out of the 6,000, 3,000 are in foster care, 1,000 are awaiting adoption. They didn't break it down. We have been asking for a month and a half for them to break it down. Nancy Buckner, who's the state DHR commissioner, Kay Ivey, doesn't matter who, nobody will answer. Nobody clearly cares. They'll do what they want. However, the Alabama Department of Human Resources on January 2nd on Facebook, they posted, thanks to the support of Governor Kay Ivey, hundreds of children found permanent homes through adoption and thousands achieved their permanency goals. Together, we're creating a brighter future for all of Alabama's children. Now, I'm not sure Kay Ivey, who's the governor that they often refer to as Meemaw Ivey because she's so old, I'm not sure how she's helped these children do anything. She doesn't work for or with DHR.
She's actually a stakeholder in DHR, and the
Yeah,
last
you get my
time I
point.
checked, it was I believe it was 18% that she actually pockets of the proceeds, the profits of DHR goes directly into Meemaw Ivy into her pockets.
Right. So I'm not sure how she's helping do anything. She actually, there was a mom, I don't remember which county she was in, single mom with one or two kids, struggling like most people. She wrote an email, not an email, a letter to Kay Ivey several months ago explaining how struggling it was that some areas don't have as many resources as, say, Birmingham or Mobile or Huntsville or something. And Meemaw Ivy's response to her was to tell her about food stamps and TANF and, things that the mother already had, and say, and if you don't think that you can take care of your child after that, I suggest you turn him over to the local CPS and let him be adopted out.
And didn't Governor Ivy actually contact CPS to have
Yes.
CPS investigate this mother?
She also told the mother that she had contacted the local CPS, and the mother went on TikTok. I don't know if she's taken it all down now or not. She started having blacked out, like what people would consider FBI vehicles or state vehicles, whatever you want to call it, pulling up to like the housing complex she lived at. She had to move because of it. So meanwhile, Ivy actually cost her more money for her writing the governor a letter saying, hey, struggling parents in this state need help. How can you help us? Please
So
help
Kay
us.
Ivy basically has put a mother who is saying, I need you to stop passing all these bills that is taxing us and hiking up grocery prices and gas prices. I need you to stop doing those things because my children are suffering from this. It's making it more difficult for me to feed my family. Kay Ivy told her, well, if you can't feed your family after I've screwed you 9 ways to Sunday, then you are an unfit parent.
Mm-hmm. And suggested that instead that the mother give the child to the state for the state to sell to strangers and then pay that stranger for the next 10 to 13 years, because I think the child was like 5 or younger, 8 or younger. You get my point.
Lady P, you were asking about Amy and I, how much we charge to advocate. Amy and I do not charge anything to advocate. And actually, we will address the situation. Amy and I will probably be addressing this in another show about advocates who do charge. And
Malibu, Dallas.
there's one. There's another one that Amy shares a first name with.
I don't know if I know.
Yeah, I think you do know that one.
Oh,
Yes. So we
the one
will
that's
actually be yes,
I
we will
forgot about
actually be discussing a couple of advocates here in a later show who actually charge parents to advocate for them, and in actuality do not help the parents at all, or they help the parents to the point of screwing the parents out of their children.
I like
Most of the
Amy's
time it is.
little thing there.
I'm
Amy,
sorry, what,
I
Benny?
like your little thing there about him. Ha ha ha! That was funny.
Yep. I don't think Miss Amy likes Malibu very much, but she also doesn't like the other advocate that we're speaking of either. So we're going to let that go for another show because it probably
If
go for about
anyone
3 or
knows
4
where
hours.
Malibu is, I would personally like to throw my crock at him.
I think there's a couple of us that would like to do that. But yeah, Lady P, Amy and I do not charge. I am actually a paralegal in Alabama, and I do have the ability to assist with some motions. If somebody is wanting me to do that, I do charge for that time. But as an advocate, there is nothing that I charge, nor does Amy charge for anything. As a matter of fact, I've had parents that I have driven across the state to be able to help try to offer me money even for gas. I won't take it. What I ask for is, and I know Amy does the same thing, if you are wanting to compensate me for my advocacy work, I know parents that could use that money. Amy will do the same thing, or Amy will give you an animal shelter that you can donate to in her name, instead of actually paying her money. We're not in this to be able to make any money. I mean, we don't need a sex change. We don't need to fool our narcissism. We just want to change the system so that other parents do not end up having to go through the hell that our families have gone through.
I will say I might be willing to take a goat if someone has a goat to offer me, because I don't want to have to buy a lawnmower this year.
Okay. All right. We'll give you that. You can take a donation of a goat. We'll make the one exception, Amy. We'll take
It
a
will be
goat if
cutting the
anybody
grass.
has.
This goat will have a job.
She might also take some food for all the animals that she fosters, because she does have a zoo.
Right.
If I wasn't on house arrest, Amy, I'd come mow your lawn for you.
Well, thank you.
Lady P, you're right. It is a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. The problem is that the advocates that we're talking about are not advocates that actually truly are advocates that know what they're doing, that actually are trying to help parents. These are
They also
advocates
charge
who are
hundreds of
actually
thousands
just in it to be able to make money. And one advocate, the one that Amy and I are speaking about, that she shares a name with, she actually claims to advocate, but in one of the cases which she allegedly advocated and helped a parent, actually it was specifically because this advocate was involved that the mother lost her children to a sex offender. This advocate has a history in her own state and her own CPS of physical and sexual abuse against her ex and their children. And because of this advocate's involvement and her having that history itself, this mother lost her children, and they are now with a sex offender. So that's what we want to avoid. Is we want to make sure that if you're going to get an advocate, that the advocates that you get, that you vet them, you make sure that they actually have the knowledge to be able to assist you, and that they're not doing it with the intent to just line their pockets. So that's why, Amy and I do not charge, but that's also why, we're not knocking people that do charge. We're knocking the ones that charge for reasons that are not exactly moral. So, Amy, so you posted in our group on our page the other day about some foster parent meetings that are going to be going on. I'll read the counties here. It looks like.
Let me
yes,
finish
ma'am.
these other numbers first.
Oh, go ahead. Let's go.
This is back to.
We're on a delay, y'all. Sorry.
Back where the Alabama Department of Human Resources thanked Kay Ivey for all of her help. I mean, if there's that one lady who wrote a letter to Kay Ivey asking for help, I'm sure there were others. And I'm sure at least one or two of them probably did decide to just hand their children over due to, stress and lack of other resources. Anyway, they claim that 723 foster children found a permanent home through adoption. Firstly, it is easier on, say, Facebook, to rehome a child than it is for a dog. I cannot post one of my foster animals without Facebook trying to flag it as, animal cells or other things that are against community guidelines. Mothers can't post breast pumps to give them to another mother, even if they're giving them away. But there are whole Facebook groups of rehoming adoptive children. Oh my goodness, this child is too bad. Their younger siblings are great, but I don't want this older one. Who wants them? Or we got this kid from Romania 2 years ago, and they have a congenital heart defect and a this and a that, and we didn't know this and that was wrong with them, and we don't want to take care of them. Who wants this kid? Stop rehoming children. Stop it. Anyway, they claim that 723 children in the state of Alabama. So y'all sold 723 children?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Probably. The Heart Gallery of Alabama is such a beautiful website.
Yes, the Heart Gallery of Alabama is actually a website where the children that are eligible for adoption, just like the shoes and the blenders and the headsets on Amazon.
But
This
what they also don't tell you guys is that they parade these kids around in front of selective parents
Mhm.
and dress them up and put makeup on them to make them look all pretty to sell them off.
Right. It'll be like, this is Bobby. He's 8 years old. He likes to play baseball and he listens really well and is excited to do whatever you tell him to do. Huh? He's 8. First of all, no 8-year-old is going to be excited to do what you want them to do. So where are these 723 children that just Alabama alone sold last year? And that's not through any private adoption or weird other malarkey. That's just through DHR. Then their next statistic is 1,950 licensed child care centers and homes statewide. I'm a little confused by this statistic because it looks like it's worded that they're talking about daycares, child care for children under 5. This post is about foster children. So I'm not sure if they are saying that there are 1,950 licensed center-based daycares and home-based daycares, or if they mean that there are 1,950 licensed group homes and licensed foster homes, because these are two vastly different. They both are involving children, but aside from that, they are not the same. So there's no clarification of what the heck this number even means. I'm assuming they mean group homes and foster homes, considering what this post is about. But if that's the case, okay, we're going to round that up 50 to 2,000 because the 6,000 number is rounded up slightly too. There are 2,000 homes and 6,000 children, and some of these homes have 1, 2, 5, 12 foster children, and there are group homes that have way more than that. And some of these group homes, like Alabama Baptist Children's Home, King's Home. There's another place that's building several out towards Northport. The place in Northport, their website has it advertised as a great serene farm type group home thing that has a lot of religious education. How do you know that these foster children are Christian, or what kind of Christian they even are? They do realize foster children can be atheist or agnostic or Islamic or Jewish or Satanist or whatever religion under the sun. But they're, a lot of, I haven't heard of a group home in the state of Alabama that is not a Christian run group home.
This is the Alabama Heart Gallery.
Mm-hmm. You know what the Heart Gallery
that right there is the section for children who are on hold.
Which means they're doing
on hold.
They're on layaway, Kim. They're doing their home studies or paying off their price. You can buy them by
They are literally
do what?
Literally advertising these. They are advertisements
by age. You know what the Heart Gallery has also done at least once, and I'm sure they've done it more than once? You know those felt boards that are often seen at schools or the library that people pin artwork and things on at like art galleries or at the school and stuff? They pick selected children to put on this board, and they advertise them at places like the library, like North Shelby County Library a couple months ago, because remember I called you and told you about it. They had a Heart Gallery display. Please come look at some of the foster children in the local area that are up for adoption. And mind you, the North Shelby County Library is in a very affluent part of Shelby County. Greystone, Mountain Brook, Brook Highland, Highland Lakes, Dunavant Valley, Mount Laurel. That really, a lot of the neighborhoods are gated there. Some of these neighborhoods you wouldn't even know are there, and to get to them is 5, 6, 12 miles off the highway. Like, you couldn't even walk out of these neighborhoods if you were trying to leave.
So I'm going through this the Heart Gallery, and I have come across their wonderful staff.
Ooh, I didn't.
Okay.
They list their staff. Oh my God, Kim, isn't that dangerous?
Wolenik. Okay?
Mhm.
She is one of the people who sell children through the Alabama Art Gallery legally.
You know what they also do?
Jocelyn Haywood, the marketing director for Alabama Art Gallery, who sells
Marketing.
children.
Marketing.
Marketing and communications director. Michelle is the co-founder and executive director.
Can I add something else, Kim?
What's that?
You know how they do all these purity little videos and photos and stuff? They don't,
Yep.
as far as I'm aware, they employ 1 or 0 photographers pretty much, because you know what they do? They reach out to different photographers and photography companies and ask if they will donate their time to photograph some of these children. They're not even paying for these photographs. They're getting them donated by different photographers throughout the state. A lot of them are in the Jefferson County, St. Clair, Shelby County, Tuscaloosa County area, because that's where the Art Gallery office is in Vestavia Hills, if that tells you anything.
Mm-hmm. Vestavia Hills, if for people that do not know, Vestavia Hills is the 3rd most affluential city in the state of Alabama. Affluential as far as the median income, the most most of the careers are doctors, lawyers, lawmakers. These are the people that have the big money. They are the ones that are selling our children. The Alabama Art Gallery is in their backyard.
And I know
because they are selling our children.
People say that they don't really notice that there are foster children or that there's anything going on. I've noticed just by what people say and what I've seen and stuff, these children are, I'm going to say the word hidden. They're either hidden inside town, inside these gated neighborhoods like Highland Lake, which is off of Highway 280, or they're
very, very affluential neighborhoods.
Out in the rural areas, like when I sub at different schools, there are some children that will have one name on their paper, like on the roll, but then another name. Like I said, I work with special needs children and kindergartners frequently. So, you know, their names are in front of their desk, all of that, like little nameplates. They'll have a completely different name or a changed version of their name. And I found out at least one of these children in one area, it's because she was, in the last 2 years, adopted from Russia. Granted, not a foster child, but still a bought child. There's at least one child in a close to me local school who has 2 vastly different names. Like her little scan card that scans her into the computer system for their online work has a first and last name, but all of her paperwork has a completely different first and last name because they're in the process of adopting her. And my assumption, because neither of her names appear to be foreign. She doesn't appear to be foreign, whether she is white presenting, and I know there are foreign countries that are white presenting, but my best guess is she's a foster child. And not only that, they're changing these children's names after they've gone to school. This baby answers to both names, but like, what is she supposed to write? Because right now she technically has 2 names.
Right. And why are you let's address that really quick. Well, let's ponder on that, I should say. If these children are coming in, child that's born Jane Doe, and they get adopted out to, John Q. child trafficker, and he changes her name to Sally Smith, all of the education that she got as Jane Doe, is that legally no longer her education?
Are those legally not her memories?
Is she going to have to? So is she going to have to? Yes, Debbie, I changed my hair color again. Yes, is that something that she's going to have to, legally repeat all those classes because Jane Doe is the one that passed those grades? So is Sally Smith going to have to legally redo those classes?
Well,
Does any of that stuff legally transfer? How does that
I'm
work?
assuming the school system somehow merges the two children together or something. I don't know. I don't know about any other school system, but I know Mobile County, and I know this on the side of children that are in CPR or CPS custody and children that are going through a custody situation between both parents. If you go to Mobile County Public School System in CPSS and ask for your child's records, like for me, I asked for Draven's. They claimed, well, DHR told us not to give them to you. There is a federal law called the FERPA law that specifically states if you have parental rights or any kind of rights of a child, you are allowed to have their full school records unless there is a court order saying that you are not allowed to have them for whatever safety reason. And instead,
Right.
Mobile County, oh, well, no, you have to have a court order to get them. That's in direct opposite and violation of the law. A friend of mine who has a custody issue between him and his ex, like his child's mother, he went to try to go get his daughter's records from a different Mobile County public system school, like a different elementary school. And they also told him, well, the mama told you not to give you her records. That means they're hiding attendance of whether these children are showing up or not. They're hiding grades. They're hiding any behavioral write-ups, any ISS, ISD, and school suspension, detention, whatever you want to call it. They're hiding test scores. They're hiding grades. You're not getting any of that. And they're claiming these
Debbie,
children, oh, they're perfectly fine. They're
Debbie,
hiding
you missed the first part of the
foreplay.
show. Amy is an advocate that I work with out of Alabama. Amy and I have known each other for about 2 years now. Amy, we've been working together. We
Yes.
advocate, we'll help parents, and we get on the phone and act stupid and goofy and gripe at each other as a sounding board when we're both dealing with psychological bullshit that we have to deal with.
Someone mentioned on the comments, social security numbers would transfer. I've heard
They
that,
get
and
new
I've also
social
heard
security numbers issued.
right because you can lock your child's social security numbers.
Hmm.
Oh,
They
also,
new social security numbers are issued. The reason they issue new social security numbers is because if they did not issue new social security numbers, then we would still be able to have access to our children. And their goal is to sever every single tie that we have to our children.
and the thing is that social security number, like you were talking, is attached to their school records, their medical records. So that severs them from all of their medical
Yep.
records are important. I mean, school records are too, but medical records could literally be dying or not.
Exactly.
Children die.
All right. Well, Amy, we are about out of time here. I want to thank you very much for appearing on tonight's show.
I have more
Guys,
numbers.
Amy will be do what?
I have more numbers for another time.
Yep, absolutely. Amy will be appearing on some other shows. We have actually discussed Amy and I doing maybe a weekly show are here to give you some information. If y'all have any questions for myself or Amy, y'all know y'all can shoot us a message. Amy, would you like to make any closing remarks before we shut it down for the evening?
I'm mostly on Facebook and TikTok. On Facebook, I'm under my name, Amy Walmsley. It's the profile picture where it's me and the cover photos, all four of my kids, not my old account where my oldest is my profile picture and the next oldest is a baby in the cover photo. And on TikTok, I am Lily, which is LILI dot the letter D dot day DAE.
All right, so y'all can look Amy up on TikTok. You can look her up on Facebook as well. You can look me up on Facebook. If you're in Alabama, the Alabama Facebook page that Amy and I have is Parents Helping Children. When you go in, there's some questions that you have to answer. Be sure to answer the questions, and just put somewhere in one of those questions, let us know that you saw us on the show tonight, and that way we can expedite your getting in. We are very, very careful about who we let in. We want it to be a safe place for parents. We do everything we can to ensure that a CPS worker hasn't infiltrated it. We actually will take sometimes up to a year to investigate parents that have asked for admittance to be certain that the ones that are in the group have a safe place that they can go. So if you do decide you
I
want to
will
try to get on the page, let us know.
let me add one thing. We do have one former foster / adoptive parent in there. We have fully vetted her. Other parents in the group have vetted her. She used to be the placement for a group member's children at some point. She is actually the
Hmm.
main witness in this group member's court case against DHR. She is trying to fight DHR. She knows a lot of dirt on DHR because she used to own a visitation center. She has adoptive children. She's had foster children. I don't think she has foster children anymore. I think they've kind of realized that she's burning a bridge.
No,
But
actually, um, so we one of the things that we did before we allowed her to be admitted is
we
we asked everybody in the group if they were comfortable with this. We let the biological parent who was related to this particular foster, we let her tell the group the situation, and the parents made the decision. This is not my page to be able to make all the decisions. It's not Amy's. We let everybody else tell us what they're comfortable with. But this foster parent, she is still currently a
I
foster
could,
parent. I have spoke with her, and we will be having her as a guest on the show in the
and she will
future. So if anybody has any questions they would like to ask a foster parent, please get those ready, and we will try to give y'all a heads up as to which show she's going to be on so that y'all can make sure that you get on that show. If you want, you can email us or you can message me the questions you might have for her, and I can try to hit those questions while we are on the show if you don't have a chance to appear. So, Amy, any last words?
we might need to do 2 hours sometimes. Just
Yeah, we'll have to see about
right.
that. We'll have to see about that. All right, guys. Well, look, remember, these are our children. You've got to fight like hell to get them back. Do not let these assholes kill you. Do not let them kill you, because if you let them kill you, you are not going to be able to fight for we'll fight for our children like we will. Good night, guys. Thanks for watching.
Good
Stay
night.
tuned, guys. CPS Victims Hunting Justice is on next. As soon as Darren's back, we're going to start the show. So be patient and be vigilant because it will be starting here soon.
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scraped their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.